at the Sawi Kanda in Accra. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country, around the world. We're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the tuning app from the Google Play or Apple iOS Store and listen to us on the go. Coming up this afternoon, 16 people confirmed dead with several others critically injured after a head-on collision involving a commercial bus and fuel tanker near Gomwa Ochiriko on the Accra Cape Coast Highway. We're live there shortly for details. Also this afternoon, chaos erupting at Anglo Gold Ashanti mines, where family of trapped illegal miners have besieged the premises, demanding their relatives be allowed to leave the mine pit after 6 of them were arrested, having stayed there for more than 4 days. We're live to the area where more than 100 illegal miners are suspected to still be hiding in fear of arrest. Also this afternoon, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia picks form to contest flag bearership race of the governing New Patriotic Party. We're live to the headquarters where leading members pick the forms on his behalf. Plus, hear from energy expert Kojo Poku, who's also actualized his intentions of leading the NPP CAM election 2024. Much later, Supreme Court cautions and discharges University of Ghana lecturer Professor Michael Kwesa-White after they took his apology and plea for mercy by his counsel. We have details of these stories and a lot more if you stay with us for the next 30 minutes. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM927 as well as on Twitter. Same handles 3FM927. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. We'll begin the bulletin with rather unfortunate news where about 16 persons have been confirmed dead and several others in critical condition following a fatal road accident on the Accra Cape Coast Highway. The accident, which occurred early Tuesday morning at Gomwa Ochiriko, involved an Accra-bound Yutong bus and a fuel tanker with a registration number WR206310 set to be headed towards Cape Coast. According to an eyewitness, the tanker driver veered off his lane into the other lane and eventually ran into the oncoming bus. Several of the victims died on the spot. Here is an eyewitness account.
One taxi in the taxi no bad when you know, but tank and ebano. Mate, not in no water, not in certainty after that bonus. It's all do the show back for a fanatic. A train to them or one side. Yeah, or one side.
So that's an eyewitness account, and the accident resulted in a gridlock as there was no movement on either side of the road, and a team of police and fire personnel were on scene to assist with the rescue. DO1 Kwesi Hughes, he's with the Winneba Fire Service Commander. He was part of the early response team. He's joined us on the telephone line now. DO1 Kwesi Hughes is the Winneba Fire Service Commander. Many thanks for speaking to us this afternoon. And so what's the current situation? Has the roadblock been cleared now?
Okay, very well. Thank you, Mawuena, and a very good afternoon to your listeners. Before I attempt to answer your question, let me make a quick correction on my rank. My rank is DO2, Kwesi Hughes.
Right, DO2.
I'm the Municipal Commander for Fire Service in Winneba, not DO1.
Right.
And so the current situation is that rescue operation has been done, and the road is open to traffic movement, and so there is no traffic built up. The traffic is now moving and flowing freely.
And what about the rescue efforts? How many bodies were you able to retrieve from the wreckage?
We as the fire service, we were able to rescue 40 lives. If I say rescue 40 lives, I mean those we rescued alive. There were 40, which were sent to Trauma and Specialist Hospital and Winneba Municipal Hospital. And we were able to also retrieve instantly about 9 dead bodies. But before we got there, 8 dead bodies had been retrieved and sent to a mortuary already, making it a total of 15. Yeah, so in total, the dead bodies are 15.
16 dead and 40 others rescued from the scene.
Yes, they are now at the hospital and they are some are in a stable condition. They are responding to treatment. One of them, in fact, has been sent to Kolebu by an ambulance just a while ago. And so the hospital is doing its best to stabilize them.
But what do we know about the bus and the tanker as to what could have resulted in the fatality this morning?
Okay, so what happened was that, according to eyewitness, the bus was coming from Abidjan to Liberia camp in Budumburam. And so, according to an eyewitness who was following the bus from Takoradi, says that the driver constantly veered off his lane to the opposite lane, and he was honking at him occasionally to alert him, which is a sign of sleepiness. You know, if you are sleeping, that's how your car behaves on the road. And so, when he got to that scene, where the incident happened, he met this tanker belonging to Goodness Energy. So, in the attempt of the tanker driver preventing head-on collision, you know, the U-turn has veered into the lane of the tanker, and so the tanker also came into the lane of the U-turn in order to prevent a head-on collision. But unfortunately, the U-turn driver came back to its lane to meet the tanker. And the side that the impact happened was the passenger side for both. Actually, the tanker driver got mashed. If we say mashed, the tanker's driver's mate actually got trapped and mashed, whilst the others who died in the U-turn bus also got dismembered, torn into pieces, and it was an eyesore. It was a very unpleasant situation this morning. But together with our brothers in the ambulance service, we were able to rescue effectively. We rescued the rescuable lives and retrieved dead bodies, and they helped us to send them to the various mortuaries. So that's what happened this morning.
Right then, DO2 Kwesi Hughes, so he's the Minister Fire Officer. We appreciate that you could provide these details.
Okay.
That's DO2 Kwesi Hughes, the Municipal Fire Officer for the Winneba area, speaking to us. And like you heard him mention, some of the bodies being dismembered and the likes, not a sight to behold. Nanaya Wasara is with our sister station Onia TV and Onia FM. We'll try and get him as well for a lot more reaction from individuals in and around the area. But let's move away from this and take you to the Ashanti region, to be specific, the Obuasi community, because there appears to be chaos brewing as some illegal miners and families of the hiding over 100 miners currently in underground tunnels of mining giant Anglo Gold Ashanti have besieged the municipal or the district assembly and are demanding the release of their colleagues. Now, 6 out of the over 100 illegal miners who intruded the Anglo Gold Ashanti underground mining pit have been arrested after they willingly came out of the main exit point. Several others are still in the pit for fear of being arrested and assaulted by the security. The miners, having run out of food and water after 6 days in the pit, sent signals to their relatives to seek help, and the miners, they entered the Anglo Gold Ashanti underground pit using an approved entry point to prospect for gold illegally. Ibrahim Abubakar is my colleague there for us. He's joining us on phone. Ibrahim, talk to us about the current situation, near chaos erupting at the district assembly office.
Well, after I speak to you, some of the illegal miners have taken over the Obuasi East District Assembly. and they came here in their numbers demanding that the DC lead them to the Obuasi mines, where they will make sure that all their colleagues will be handed over to them safely. They are not ready to leave until the DC leaves them. In fact, they nearly even attacked the DC, but for the intervention of the police had to come in swiftly, move the DC away from the office before they came back. As I speak to you, the police has agreed that together with the DC, or I mean the District Security Council, they will be moving to the scene to see what is happening. Currently, we are told 7 of them are out and they have been handed over to the police.
7 of them are out, handed over to the police. Does it look like the police can move these illegal miners from the District Assembly office?
It will be very, very difficult per what I'm seeing, but they are trying to engage them, convince them, because where the incident happened is far away from where the assembly is. So we are even told that the police will have to move in if they realize the people will not be coming out, so that they will effect the arrest, because they don't want a situation whereby they will leave these people due to this agitation, and the next minute or the next day we'll see another group going there, hoping that even after they are arrested, they will be left to go home just like that. So it's a very delicate situation, but they are trying to handle it tactfully.
You've been speaking to some of the families who initially went to the mine area where these illegal miners are expected to exit out of the tunnels from. You spoke to a woman. What exactly did she tell you?
Well, for them, they are just pleading with the authorities to understand them, because this is a mining community and this is what they have been doing over the years as their source of livelihood. And they are saying that that area has been abandoned by Anglo Gold, so they do not see the reason why they have to be arrested when they go there to find something for themselves.
But no. Ejuma bi ani boas yanko school yanko baby nti ejuma na omoye na ye de hwe yan back yanke di o 2 minutes baby omadu no so no omonye ejuma wo obiem level omon number level 60 something almost someone in force here ya baby I west na omon pebiem no no moko omo so ahemet me ensa met me no so much amutimi jom 200 million 300 million ade unu ukunu no wait much makasa me ba chose unu na tima kasa ukunu a me tiri ni nkasa switch off o ma ya mle o ma di o ma mama na e week o mu gugu o mu face o mu chomo a o mu di o be ko remind o ma di card na ko remind be 1 month 1 week o ma na dem sa me kwa me my blesser. This is WhatsApp, baby. My Saturday, baby. Mama say any day. This is any ambani day.
So, a woman there who says that her husband is one of the individuals who are currently hiding in that mine or holding up. And like you heard, Ibrahim ask what had transpired, and she says that where these illegal miners are currently holding themselves at is not a place which is currently experiencing active mining, and that they've gone there. Her husband in particular has been arrested in the past and was on remand for over a month before he was released, and so they are pleading that they be allowed to come out. Another young person as well spoke to Ibrahim Abubakar, questioning why they continue to persecute them in that particular area.
Kwan na efa no enu nie I say na efa ye fa ye kwan ni ye wurem say ye pia ni say ni ye wurem ni afa ha ni ekọ nti ye kwan na ma den o makata no nti ye ba na o ma wede ye bi ansa o ma wede ano na o ma wede no nti ye ba na o ma wede na ni afle ye nu afọ no mo abo no ma bitwa na ye nti sala so bata maso ye nu afọ ni bebi aka wo no mo ti esla ban say o ma den omun kan be my any and yentimi enyi enua for nya sa de a any soldiers for na wasem any age na wasem we kan ba ku mienu ye mpesa beto so miensa nti no say aban onja enua for ne man the ene no wono no.
Another young person pleading for mercy and asking that they be allowed to bring out the other illegal miners who are currently holding up in the mines. Anglo Gold Ashanti, they've issued a statement in relation to all of this, and they say it's titled Anglo Gold Ashanti Ghana provides update on media report, and it reads that the mine is aware of the media report alleging that illegal miners may have been trapped underground in the northern areas of the mine, remote from current active mining areas. Unauthorized persons underground are able to exit on foot via the existing ramp through the main access of the mining area. No person underground has been confined in any way, and the main exit ramp from the mine remains open. Obuasi Gold Mines management team has notified the relevant authorities and public security services and is working closely with them. Yesterday, 7 illegal miners exited through the main access point on foot and are in the custody of the Ghana Police Service. Any unauthorized person underground is encouraged to leave the mine at any time by the exit point where public security personnel remain on standby. Intrusion of illegal miners into underground areas remains a significantly dangerous activity, and Anglo Gold Ashanti Ghana is working alongside authorities to ensure that only authorized mine personnel and contractors can access underground work areas. Let's get on the phone. Seth Walashimeze, mining consultant. Let's speak his thoughts on this. Mr. Walashima, many thanks for speaking to us. A conundrum for these illegal miners, but it appears to be a bigger one for Anglo Gold, with what we understand, over 100 miners hiding in their pits and dying away from reports. How can this be handled? Anglo Gold says there's an exit point, but it appears the miners are not willing to take it.
Thank you very much, Mawuena, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners. The story of Obuasi as a town and Anglo Gold is a very sad one, if I want to recount, because the amount of gold that has been taken out of that small town, and the fact that that town is still, suffering somehow from poverty. Mining has gone on in that small town for decades and decades, but nothing goes back to the people. So the people, knowing how rich, the land is, are always tempted to go and also, have their pound of flesh. It's unfortunate that it is happening this way. But you see, I always say that such problems have socio-economic dimensions. And until and unless we look at it holistically, we will be blaming these poor people for nothing. But, well, they have found themselves in that underground shaft. There is always an exit. Unfortunately, if they don't want to take it, they might be running a risk of losing their lives underground. So it's a choice for them to make.
The subject of encroachment of these multinational mines is one that has stayed with us for a while. It's not the first that these mines have been encroached in that particular area. The challenge for a lot of these residents is they see no other way than to mine for themselves, like you've mentioned. Shouldn't we be seeing a lot more action from the part of government with how far or how long this has persisted for?
Well, you see, there is an adage in Ghana which literally translated means that nobody holds a stick and allows a dog to come and bite it. So literally, they will use the stick to hit the dog and have their freedom. So that is the kind of situation they have there. There are resources underground. That country, community and its environs have been denied requisite development and economic activities that will make the people in that enclave, somehow economically free. They mine the gold and they take it away, and it's the people are frustrated,
right,
and they are hungry, and there are no jobs.
Right.
So we need to look at the whole thing holistically, and if it means that the Anglo Gold has to see the place solely for them to have their livelihood, some kind of negotiation will have to be entered into, and that has to be done so that there could be some kind of lasting peace when it comes to this type of activity.
Right, then I appreciate that you could speak to us. That said, Walashima, he's a mining consultant speaking to us this afternoon on that ongoing controversy, near chaos really, at the District Assembly in Obuasi in relation to these over 100 illegal miners who are holding up in the mining pit of Anglo Gold Ashanti. As and when there's a lot more, we'll bring you details. Let's return to the capital now, where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has picked forms to contest the race for who becomes the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party. Some leading stalwarts of the NPP, including former national organizer of the NPP Samia Uku and former national vice chair Fred Oware, this morning picked forms for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia without any pomp and pageantry. A group, Bawumia Fan Club, were last Friday denied the chance to pick forms on behalf of the Vice President after party officials concluded they didn't have the consent of the number 2 gentleman. Speaking to the media after picking forms, with Samia Uku and Fred Oware confirmed the Vice President will announce his decision to contest soon.
Well, we came here to pick the forms for Dr. Bawumia. That assignment has been completed, so we're going back to the office.
So what next? When officially are we going to hear you launch your campaign?
Well, the candidate himself would announce that.
So we know that as a Vice President, people were expecting a large crowd. Why is that the situation?
Private assignment. It's a private assignment.
When we are ready to communicate, we'll communicate.
What exactly will you be communicating?
When the forms are filled and being submitted.
So that's how...
So that was how they responded to questions from journalists. My colleague Noble Crosby, and he's a part of the journalists who are there stationed there for us. Crosby, the Vice President is in the running for the flag bearership race. Talk to us about the scenery which characterized the picking of forms for him.
Well, Eric, there was expected to be a very busy day at the MPP headquarters because one of the 2 biggest names in the MPP who wants to become president of the country, the leading names we're talking about, Alan Chamanti and then Dr. Bawumia, was scheduled to take his nomination form today. And that person is Dr. Bawumia. So it was expected to come with some pomp and pageantry, some noise making with a lot of supporters. But it turns out that it was quite the opposite. It was a very quiet day at the NPP headquarters. But for those who expected Dr. Bawumia himself to be at the party headquarters to take the nomination form, that did not happen. Dr. Bawumia was represented by Sami Awoku, who is a former executive of the party, who is now with the NLA, who were here. Dr. Bawumia there. We also saw another person accompanying Dr. Bawumia to pick up the nomination form from Fred. So they also came, and it was just the 2 of them with a few supporters of theirs, about 2 or 3 people who, when they got down from their vehicles, declined speaking to the media, went to the party headquarters, the party offices. After about 10, 15 minutes, they came out with the form. And then when we attempted to speak with them, although they didn't want to address the media, so they made it clear that this was an assignment to get the forms of Dr. Bawumia. Remember that on Friday, May 26th, a group of people decided to pick the form for Dr. Bawumia, but they were rejected because they didn't have authorization from Dr. Bawumia himself.
And so this does suggest that they have the consent of the Vice President, and so we can say that it's the Vice President.
Exactly, Eric. Yes.
He wasn't the only one there. We know that Kojo Poku was present as well. Was he successful, and what did he tell you?
Right. So Kojo Poku, for the energy analyst, also came to be. As a matter of fact, he almost came at the same time that Dr. Bawumia's team was inside. So when Kojo Poku arrived, he waited outside for a few minutes, and just when Dr. Bawumia's team was getting out of the office, he also entered the office. And then he's also very confident of his chances of leading the NPP, although he agrees that he may not be very popular, but he believes that he's very competent. The people who matter within the NPP, the delegates, know him. He has sold his message for them, and they have actually bought into his message. So he's very confident that come November 4, he'll be voted to lead the NPP in the flag bearership slot. So he was also very successful. He went inside after a few minutes. He came out with his nomination form. He intends to go around the country, fill it up, and then submit it to the party, Eric.
Right, then.
120%. For various opinion polls, they don't put you... My name is not even mentioned, my brother. Yes. In all the polls. But let me tell you something. This election is not about the news. It's not about the media. A society. MPP is a society.
That's Kojo Poku, who's an energy analyst, speaking to my colleague Noble Crosby Annan, who's at the party headquarters. You're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7. We're returning to the Ashanti region, Asokore-Mampong to be specific, because there was disorder in the Asokore-Mampong District Court this morning when key suspect in the murder of 26-year-old Majwa Inspector Ahmed Chumisi made an appearance in court. Family of the murdered lady held insult and curses at the suspect when he was being ushered into the court, raising the noise levels at the court hearing a few decibels higher. Inspector Ahmed Chumisi was arrested 3 days after Majwa was gruesomely murdered on April 20. The court remanded him to appear today. We'll try and connect with my colleague William Evan Sinkum to provide some more details there for us as and when we get him in the short space. I will bring that to you. We're staying on the court because the Supreme Court has cautioned and discharged former NDC parliamentary aspirant for Shai Osudoku, Professor Michael Kpesa White, after taking in his apology and plea for mercy by his counsel. Kpesa White had pleaded guilty and was convicted by his own plea by the Apex Court. The court, presided over by Justice Mariam Owusu, retired the panel to deliberate on the appropriate sanction to be meted out to the University of Ghana lecturer. After consideration, Justice Mariam Owusu, in reading the judgment, indicated that though the bench finds his comment worrying, the apology and steps taken by the convict contributed to the decision to discharge him. Still in the capital here, and to Teshi now, because residents there, they are up in arms, and residents of Teshi and its environs in the Lejokuku municipality here in the Greater Accra region, they've taken to the streets to protest the deplorable nature of roads in the area. The residents are unhappy over what they describe as government inability to give a facelift to several kilometers of deplorable inner roads in the municipality. Clad in red attire amid singing and chanting, they marched to the assembly office to petition authorities. Saint Kabu is an assembly member and one of the conveners of the Teshi residents.
Trust me, if you are coming from Tema, you would meet Nungwa, and the roads are good. When you bypass Teshi and then you get to La Osu, their roads are good. So we don't know why Teshi alone, they are treating us this way, as if we are not part of Ghana. If we are not part, they should tell us. But my brother, you can just go onto the ground. The roads are very bad.
Oh, you have this highway.
This is the inner roads. Even this, as we speak, they started some a long time ago, and they can't even complete it. Contractors have left side, and this road, as you are seeing, is killing a lot of people.
The MC has given assurance that he's on.
Look, this MC has given us assurance several times. The assurance has been given when this road were, getting spoiled. Almost 5-6 years now. A lot of people have come and gone, but this current MC, his term, the roads are in bad nature, and we have done all we can to make sure that at least they do something about it. They have not been doing anything.
Now, Saint Kabo is an assembly member and one of the conveners of the protest. The MC for the area, Mordecai Kwashi, has been reacting.
My assessment of what is happening today is in two parts. On one side of it, I understand their frustrations. We all saw the state, or we all see the state of our roads. We know what is happening on the roads, and therefore we were all upset that the roads were in the state they were in. And we are all right now very happy that government, in heeding our call, has put a contractor on it, currently laying asphalt on the very roads that we are complaining about. So in one side of it, I understand their frustration, and it is good to have an engaged populace who can rise up and express themselves when they are unhappy with something. It's a good thing. It's a welcome development in our democracy. So that's fine.
That's Modekwa Kwashi is the municipal chief executive of the Lejekuku municipality, will end with ongoing protests by some gender groups who are demanding that the taxes on sanitary towels be scrapped. They petition the Speaker of Parliament and the Finance Ministry, hoping to have the taxes removed to make sanitary towels affordable for young girls and women. There'll be a lot more on this if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. That's our bulletin for this afternoon. Log on to 3news.com for a lot more news. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta and Aneke Amensa Brampa is on standby to bring us the very latest from the world of business.